When you just look at something like, I think it's 5%, I forget the figure, it's small, 5% or 2% of the liquid wealth of billionaires can end the deficit of medical care on the planet. This puts all billionaires very low down, not all, I've seen some good ones actually, but most very low down in my feeling of them. I see it as immoral and unjust. There should be a society that pulls billionaires together, not to amplify their wealth or to amplify their power, but a society that pulls them together to teach them how to be human beings, how to be people that are moral, and will give these illusory numbers and this illusory power to parts of the world like this, so as they can have infrastructure that doesn't allow for a disabled mother of 16 to end up throwing her child into a river because she didn't know how to cope or what to do. And that infrastructure is missing, not because there's not enough resources on the planet, but because the resources are not shared. These problems exist because people don't live from their heart. These problems exist because people haven't learned it's important to share from a young age. Hey guys, so many of you will know this has been like 4 days since I posted a video, and I think most of you will have worked out that is because it got so busy. I mean, 12 children in 10 days is a lot to take on. Dealing with each child's issues as well. I mean, some are very young, as young as 4 and 5, who have been traumatized. So they are on you like glue. They won't let go of you. They need to be hanging on to you and cuddling you. And then at the same time as that, we have some older children who have came in with problems I never thought I'd see, actually, to be honest with you, in my life. It's been intense, it's been hectic. And we've even had to spend time decorating a storeroom to make space for the amount of children we've got here at Featherstail. So we are bulging at the seams and we are buckling at our knees as well. But we are managing, and I don't want to do this, but I'm going to use, I think, the rented property in Uchiro that we're going to use for volunteers. I'm going to have to use that as a children's home until Featherstail can expand. And to expand, I mean to acquire the land here. I have space to build a house down here, which is still the goal. Problem is we can't build it too high because the land is up on a ridge next to the road, and there's an issue with even the smaller house down there. It started to crack, so here it's difficult to find a good constructor, etc., who can gauge what's going to happen on the land. But I know from that alone I can't build a huge house there like I wanted to. So as big a house is what I want to, not huge as such. I was only going to build 4 rooms and a toilet, and 1 room was a corridor. So what we need to do is acquire this other land right next to us, which is like 1.5 acres. And I had an 11-11 moment the other week, actually. I wasn't hungry at all. I just wasn't hungry. Enforced fast, I call it. And I wandered to the gate by chance at the right time when a man was passing. And this land, I've tried to inquire before about it because it's right next to us, and the people who own it is a family and they're spread all over the country, so they said you'll never be able to buy it because you can't negotiate with everybody. Well, it just so happened that their mother passed away a year ago on that day, so they were all together to pay their respects to their mother's grave because she's buried here in the family home. So they invited me up, first of all, to pray with them. They see me as a man of God. I hope that I can call myself a man of God at this stage of my life, but they see me as a man of God in the community, and they see me as the same. So they asked me to join them to pray. And it was a mixture of Islamic and Christian. The lady herself was an Islamic woman who was buried there next to her Christian husband. So it was a mixed faith event. And there were Christians praying for this lady as well. And there was a gentleman from the mosque who was reading from the Quran as well. It was a very beautiful little service they put on, and I was honoured that they asked me to attend. But at the end of it, they told me about the land. So it was like 50 million Tanzanian shillings for this land, which is, I think, around about £15,000. So I told them to wait, and I will pray and see what comes about. So when I left, I pulled my phone out of my pocket, and it was 11:11. And I think that was God giving me a wink to say, I've opened a doorway here, so let's see what else he has in store for me. So I just wanted to share that little story with you and to tell you that we're battling. I'm struggling a lot, and in among trying to expand to cope with all the children we're getting and working out how to do this, or working out how to be quiet enough so as I can hear God's plan to do this is how I should word it, because my mind is busy. I have other stuff going on, and I want to talk about it because it's important to share the truth. It's a little bit sad, and it's very sad actually, and it's negative. But it's important to share the truth, I think, whilst I'm doing what I'm doing here, for everyone who's helped to support us and the type of things we need in Tanzania, places like Feather's Tail, for children with disabilities. So I have begun to help a girl who is disabled mentally and physically. And before ourselves, she has been on her own, cared for by her grandmother. Now, it's not adequate care for her because she hasn't had a decent education or counselling or monitoring, and society in Tanzania is not as safe as what it would be in the West, I think. I'm not sure if this stuff happens in the West, it may, but I presume society here, well, it's not as safe, but I presume this doesn't happen as much in the West, if it happens at all. So this girl, she was taken advantage of, and she fell pregnant, and she had the baby 8 weeks ago. And a member of the family told us that this disabled girl who we are trying to care for, trying to look after through the newborn baby into a river when she was 2 months old. It would seem that she's killed the baby. Now there's still some hope, and we're still looking for this baby, because this is the words of a disabled girl, and it's passed on from the auntie, so it's not guaranteed that's what happened, but it's looking very likely at the moment that it did. But we have a lead to say that the baby might be with someone in a place called Singida, which is like 9 hours drive away. So we've got some work to do to confirm what's going on here. But I mean, it rattled us all to the core that this had happened, because you can't blame the girl. She is mentally impaired. So then, who the hell, for want of a better word, who on earth do you blame? Who do you blame, if anybody? Is it just a horrible accident? And you can ask God all you want about these things, and it doesn't seem to make sense no matter what you ask him or what you pray, right? Why would that happen? And I guess it comes down to whoever took advantage of her was not a man of God. And then, unfortunately, our society is not a society of morality and God. And I talk about our global society, not just the one of Tanzania. It's not a society of morality. And here it's amplified, and that's why this disabled girl ended up with a baby on her own. And of course she can't care for it, and there's not even anywhere for someone like that to go, or that the government have set up for a girl like this. So we will do our best to see if this baby, I hope and pray that it is safe and well. If it is, this lead works out, then I wish I hadn't shared this with you, but at the same time it shows you the sort of stuff we have to deal with every day. In amongst seeing that we've took in 12 children and stuff like this, So. Yeah, you just don't know. You ask God all you want, why would that happen? The only thing I can say is, well, it's up to us collectively. We are given the gift of life from God. It's up to us collectively to make that work. But collectively we don't make that work. We fight to make our individual lives as nice as we can often. I'm not judging anyone for doing that. But those who are in the elite position, the billionaires and the trillionaires on the planet, those who control it are not deemed a trillionaire but can control trillions of dollars worth of assets. When you just look at something like, I think it's 5%, I forget the figure, it's small, 5% or 2% of the liquid wealth of billionaires can end the deficit of medical care on the planet. This puts all billionaires very low down, not all, I've seen some good ones actually, but most very low down in my feeling of them. I see it as immoral and unjust. There should be a society that pulls billionaires together, not to amplify their wealth or to amplify their power, but a society that pulls them together to teach them how to be human beings, how to be people that are moral, and will give these illusory numbers and this illusory power to parts of the world like this, so as they can have infrastructure that doesn't allow for a disabled mother of 16 to end up throwing her child into a river because she didn't know how to cope or what to do. And that infrastructure is missing. Not because there's not enough resources on the planet, but because the resources are not shared. These problems exist because people don't live from their heart. These problems exist because people haven't learned it's important to share from a young age. It's because there's a disease in humanity of greed and power and ignorance. And I see these things, and that's the answer I get when I ask God why this happens. And I don't know if God gives me that answer or if I just give it to myself. But as far as I can see, that's why it happens. Yeah, crazy, So we're looking for a baby that's 2 months old, and we're hoping and praying to God that he or she is alive. And this story is a story, but for now we're just hoping and praying, as I say. So, intense week. I'm feeling a bit drained by it all, to be honest, guys. So. I can do all things in He who strengthens me, so hopefully He's going to give me his last drops of strength to see out the next couple of days. I'm going to take some time out at the weekend. So. Okay, I'm going to get off. Much love, guys.